Another reading ramble, Jack? Yes, it is. Grab a cup of tea and let's talk about what I've been reading, what I've been thinking about reading, and anything kind of book related. And for me, that also means tea. So if you like tea, grab a cup of tea. If you don't like tea, grab the beverage of your choice and let's get into it, shall we? Editing, Jack. Just thought I'd pop on because I realised while I was editing that I've managed to accidentally switch on portrait mode on my phone, which is why the background is all blurry. And I usually don't have that on because even though it seems quite tempting to use it because it looks quite nice, when you're holding up books and things, it makes them all blurry as well. So unfortunately, I've looked at the video and it doesn't look quite as bad as I thought it would be for some of the books that I'm holding up. But yeah, I can't refilm that video. I've got these perfectionist tendencies, which I'm trying to move away from, which is preventing me from posting videos quite a lot. And I spent 45 minutes filming that video, so I don't want to refilm it, even though I was very tempted to do that. It is nearly edited, and I just thought I'd come on and explain why it looks a little bit weird and why I'm not refilming it. So yeah, back to me. So today I've got some new tea, and I had a birthday recently, and I don't share what date my birthday is online. I don't think that's a very sensible thing to do for anybody, or how old exactly I am, but not because I don't really bothered about people knowing how old I am, but I just figure that giving out your date of birth online is not really the smart thing to do. So let's say I had a recent birthday and I turned 40 something, and basically my one of my besties sent me a voucher for Bird and Blend, who are a British loose leaf tea company. They do all sorts of teas. They do black teas, fruit teas, herbal teas, green teas, matcha, they do all that kind of thing, and they are just a lovely, delightful company. They have shops in lots of cities around the UK, and each shop, when you go into it, has their own signature blend. So here in Devon, the Exeter shop, the signature blend is a Devon cream tea, so it tastes like scones with strawberry jam. So this is a new tea for me, which I got on Friday. So I took myself off into Exeter and had a lovely day around Exeter. Went to the Devon and Exeter Institution Library, which is beautiful, and I went to Bird and Blend, and I got something that's making me very happy. This new tea is called Violet Cream, and it's dark, oh hang on, where are we? Dark chocolate covered violets with vanilla notes is the sort of tasting note, and it smells amazing. And when I smelled it, I thought, I wonder if it's going to taste good. I'm not a fan of sweet teas generally. I like chocolate teas. I don't like fruity teas. So this isn't fruity. It's more, yeah, vanilla-y. It kind of smells a bit sherbety, but it reminded me of something from when I was a child. I was trying to remember, and I don't know if you're from the UK, I don't know if they have it anywhere else, but Fry's chocolate, it might be famous elsewhere, but it was this really, you can still get like Fry's peppermint creams, which is a blast from the past because I used to love those, but they used to do one called Fry's 5 Centres. I don't know if anyone remembers those, and it smelled like it was very fruity fondant filling with 5 different fruit flavours in this dark chocolate shell. Anyway, I'll put a picture up that I found online trying to find. I was like, yes, that's what it reminds me of. And I haven't smelled or eaten that chocolate since, you know, I was a child, so this is what it made me think of. So whether that smell recollection is correct or not, anyway, it was a very Proustian experience, as you can imagine. But yes, that's absolutely delicious. The other teas I got, I picked up my trusted favourite, the very expensive coconut milk oolong, which is also very nice. If you like delicate kind of fragrance teas, oolong is really nice, and the milk oolong is the tea, and they add coconut flakes to it, and I just adore that. And then I went coconut crazy. I went coconuts and I got coconut masala chai, which is a black tea. So Sri Lankan black tea, Indian Assam blend with ginger, cloves, cardamom, red peppercorns and coconut flavouring. Basically, it says all the classic chai spice and a dash of coconut. So this is also really good. And one of the things I also got sent, the lovely Charlie Book from Charlie Book Reads, she sent me a box of delights. And one of the things she sent me as a main present was this beautiful print. Look at it. It says, time for tea, cake and a good book. So thank you, Charlie. I love this. It's going up on my shelves, though my shelves are getting pretty crowded with stuff, and I don't want stuff everywhere. I don't have anything up on the walls at the moment because we're renting and I don't want to hang pictures up on the walls, but we've been here long enough. I think I might have to just start banging some nails in walls because we can always fill the holes afterwards. But yeah, this is really lovely. I love this. Thank you, Charlie. Charlie also sent me a book, and I'm going to go through the books I got sent for my birthday, and I'm going to talk to you about what I've been reading recently. But I'm also going to say that I was in the Devon and Exeter Institution, and I got some books out of the library there because I have joined as a member, and most of the books I got were on local history for a project that I'm just looking into just out of curiosity. And the other thing that I spotted while I was in there was this book, the Exeter Book of Riddles, which is an Anglo-Saxon book of riddles that was bequeathed to the cathedral library in the year 10 something or other. So it's like 1,000-year-old book of riddles, Anglo-Saxon riddles, and I saw it on the shelf and I've heard of the Exeter Book of Riddles, so I picked it up thinking, yes, this will be delightful to read through, and I've read a couple of them and so far it is very delightful. But what's interesting is, as I picked it up, the librarian said, oh, isn't it amazing, you can go and see the book now? And I said, sorry? She said, well, it's been, locked away for years and years and years and not been on display for like decades, I think. I got that impression from her anyway. And it is now on display in Exeter Cathedral. So I'm going to read some riddles and I'm going to go and see the book probably next Friday. So yeah, it's really delightful. So the riddles cover all sorts of topics and they're translated, and lots of scholars have debated what the answer to some of the riddles are. So there is some debate around some of them. Some of them are clearer than others. There are some very saucy riddles in here as well, which are like double entendres. So basically, some fairly ones that seem to be rude but are about something perfectly innocent. The British English love a bit of double entendre. If you've ever watched Bake Off, you'll realise when people talk about soggy bottoms and things like that. So this one though, I thought I'd read to you because it is about, it's book related, so I thought it'd be quite nice. It's riddle 47. In this book it's number 47. There are 96 riddles in all. A moth devoured words. When I heard of that wonder, it struck me as a strange event that a worm should swallow the song of some man, a thief gorge in the darkness on fine phrases and their firm foundation. The thievish stranger was not a whit the wiser for swallowing words. And the answer is a book moth, so something that devours words. And I just thought that was really nice, so I thought I'd read it to you. But yeah, so if you've never heard of the Book of Exeter, Exeter Book, I should say, then yeah, I recommend it if you like Old English poetry and stuff. They don't have the original Old English in here. I imagine you'd probably get that somewhere, but this is a Penguin translation. So yeah, really good fun. So Bookish presents. So these people, some of them also got me other things, but I'm not going to go through every present because I was very spoilt for my birthday and I got lots of lovely little things included in the gift packages that people sent me. But I'm just going to go through the books. So, Young Mungo. This was from Emily at Novell Novels. Douglas Stuart. I love Shuggie Bain. I've read it twice and I will probably read it again. It is an amazing book and I've never read Young Mungo. And so the group that I reread it with, which was Ange from Ange's Book Chatter, Charlie from Charlie Book Reads, and Danny from Danny's Book World. We're going to be reading Young Mungo, I think in September. I might be wrong, but yes, I'm looking forward to reading that. And Douglas Stuart apparently has a new book coming out soon. So that was one of my gifts. The next, this is absolutely stunning. How pretty is this book? Alice with a Y, and it's signed. So I was given this by my wonderful friend Nikki, who is not a booktuber, she's just a lovely friend, and she does watch my channel, so thank you, Nikki. I'm showing off this, look at this, look how beautiful this is. I can't get over how stunning this is. So it's just a plain blue cover, but look at the marbled end papers, signed, and the just beautiful cover design, and then the sprayed edges, look at those. Absolutely beautiful. So this is Anna James's book. Anna James, when I was given this by Nikki, I hadn't seen this book before, but now I'm seeing it everywhere and it is a brand new release. Anna James wrote the Pages & Co. Children's middle grade series, which is so good. I mean, I haven't read all of the books in it, but I loved the first two. And yeah, really lovely books about a girl called Tilly who has the power of book wandering, and she goes and solves mysteries in books. Anyway, all that kind of thing, absolutely wonderful. So this is a book for grown-ups, Alice with a Y, and it's about Alice returning, it's about Alice's great-granddaughter, I believe. Her grandmother, the original Alice. So Alice with a Y lives with her grandmother, the original Alice, having lost her father during the Great War. So it's set in 1919 in England. I haven't read any more than that because I don't want to read any more. I just want to read it and enjoy it and just savour how beautiful this book is. So thank you so much, Nikki. I think it's probably the prettiest of the books I got. I did get some other pretty books I'll show you in a second. And Nikki also got me Sandi Toksvig's Between the Stops, a most wonderful memoir, because she listened to the audiobook and loved it. So looking forward to that. And then I also got this beautiful Persephone book. I almost said, what was I going to say, Pandora, but Persephone books. So this is a 1931 story called The Fortnight in September by R.C. Sheriff, and it is an account of 2 weeks holiday. So I should be reading it in the summer, actually. And a family that's on holiday, and there's a small tragedy, I believe, at the heart of it. And I can't remember who I saw talking about this. So if you are a booktuber and you read this book and you recommended it on your video, let me know, because if it was you that I watched, I want to thank you if I read it and love it. But yes, so this looks absolutely lovely. My gorgeous friend Sally, Salbo Reads at Instagram, she sent me two things. She sent me This Is Happiness by Niall Williams, which she said she read and absolutely adored. And it's about 17-year-old Noel Crowe who finds himself back in Farha, a small Irish parish where nothing ever changes. So he drops out of the priest seminary, and it's supposed to be beautiful and wonderful. And yeah, she sent me this, and I always enjoy whatever Sally recommends. So there's this, and she also sent me an audio book, and I haven't got the name of that to hand, so I will put a picture of it up here so you can see what she sent me. So yeah, I'm very thoroughly spoilt by her. I also got sent two books by Gemma from Gemma Books, and she sent me Chain Gang All Stars, which she loved and I have still yet to read, so I will get to it. And she sent me A Swim in a Pond in the Rain by George Saunders, which is like reflections on writing and stuff. So reading, writing and life, I think, are reflections. So I've wanted to read this for some time, and she saw it, she thought I would enjoy it. She has read it and she thought I would enjoy it. So lovely books that I got for my birthday. So yeah, I was really spoilt for my birthday. Thank you everyone who sent me books, who sent me lovely little gifts and things. If I've forgotten to show anything on here, I apologise. I've just been trying to go around and gather everything up for this video. But yeah, so those are the things that I was sent that I have yet to read. So what have I finished? Well, I finished Kiki's Delivery Service, which I have been reading as part of the Reading the Globe YA reading events that I'm co-hosting with Katja from Page Turns with Katja, whose wonderful brainchild this is. She's hosting a whole load of Reading the Globe challenges. There's a classics edition, there's like a modern novels edition, and she is hosting this whole reading in translation, basically, so focusing on reading books in translation, and I am co-hosting the YA middle grade event with her. And this is one I was really excited to get to, because Kiki's Delivery Service is most famous for the Studio Ghibli film, which was one of their first major films, and really put their animation studio on the map. And so I was really excited to get to this. Eiko Kadono is a prolific and hugely famous Japanese children's author, and I really enjoyed reading it. It was very whimsical, very sweet. If you want more thoughts on it, you can join us for the live stream over on Katja's channel. We're doing that on Sunday 17th of August at 6 p.m. as a live stream. So yeah, if you want to know more about it, come and join us for that. Finished Emma. And I did say that I was going to do give more of my thoughts on the Emma adaptations that I'd watched, but I'm still watching them. I found the Kate Beckinsale adaptation is on YouTube, the full movie, so I have that to watch. And I have got the TV adaptation. I can't remember the name. Is it Romola? I can't remember the name of the actress who plays Emma in it, but that is on BBC, and I'll be watching that. So I've since watched the 2019 or 2019? 2022? I don't know. I think it's 2020. The 2020 version and the 1996 version. And so now I'm going to watch the Kate Beckinsale one, and I'm going to watch the other one, and I'm going to talk about all of them at some point. So I won't talk at length about Emma. If you've been here before, you know I love Jane Austen, and Emma is my second favourite Jane Austen book, and probably will remain that until I probably read Persuasion again, and then it swaps places. But yeah, Emma's just so good. And it's just delightful reading this book, listening to the audiobook by Juliet Stevenson, and reading my beautiful vintage classics edition of Emma, which I love. And it's got a little bit bashed, so not happy about that, but I was carrying it around with me. So what can you expect? I also read Burn by Patrick Ness, which it was good. Not the best book I've read all year, but Patrick Ness writes, I think, great YA fiction. And this is an alternate history of where it's 1950s America and the Cold War is going on, and it's set in a small rural town in North America, where a young girl is living with her father. Her mother has recently died in the last couple of years, and she is of mixed heritage. So her mother was African American, her father is white, and she lives in quite a small rural town, and where there's quite a lot of prejudice and racism. And her boyfriend is Japanese, and he has also lost his mother because in the Second World War, lots of Japanese families were sent to internment camps. And even though he was born in America and is American, he was sent to an internment camp, and his mother caught an illness and died there. So these two teenagers are united in the fact that they stand out amongst this very white, very rural town, and very prejudiced, very racist. And they also have both lost their mothers, so they are good friends and boyfriend and girlfriend. And then the girl's father hires a dragon to clear some land, and the kind of adventure starts from there. So it's a really interesting alternate history and a very good YA book, which explores not just, he's using the dragons and the Cold War and all of those things, but he explores some really interesting themes of belonging and young relationships and finding yourself and identity and lots of things like that. So I think Patrick Ness is a great YA author. There is no explicit graphic sex in it, but there's talk of sex and sex scenes. So if you are thinking of getting this book for someone who is younger, just be warned that there is discussion of sexual relationships within it. And yeah, but no graphic sex scenes. Anyway, I really enjoyed it. A good book, not a great book, but one that I really enjoyed. I also finished volumes 10 and 11 of The Walking Dead this morning. Such a good graphic novel series. I'm enjoying it far more than the end of the TV show. In fact, I'm on season 11 of the TV show, and that's only because I was so bored of the last few episodes of season 10 where they've introduced some new characters that I just watched a synopsis on YouTube so I could just skip ahead to season 11, because quite frankly, I was just getting to a point where I want to see the end of the series because I've watched this much of it, I might as well. But it's gone really downhill for me because, like any long-running TV show, especially if it veers away from the original source material quite as much as it does, they lose some of their big stars inevitably who go on to other projects. And so they lost Andrew Lincoln because he's based in the UK and he couldn't keep spending large portions of his time in America. He was in the show for eight seasons, well really it was 7 and the beginning of season 8, and then they wrote his character out of it because he just couldn't, with a young family, keep travelling and spending this much time in America every year. So he was written out of it. And I love Andrew Lincoln, but there were still some great characters in it, and then more of the main characters have been disappearing because of other projects. And while some of the new characters have been introduced have been okay, lots of them are really irritating. So yeah, I'm really enjoying the graphic novels though. I'm on volume 12. I read 2 volumes today, 10 and 11, and I nearly started volume 12, but I think I'm just going to save it. I'm going to read volume 12 at some point this week. So what am I currently reading? Started A Fine Balance by Rohinton Mistry, which is the FOMO book club pick for July and August, and it is a really good book so far. 100 pages in, and I was expecting it to be to grip me from the start, and it has. It's really well written, and I've heard so many great things in praise of this book, and so far I'm still expecting it to be one of my books of the year. So yeah, just started this. We'll be finishing it by the end of August, and we will talk about it at the beginning of September, probably on my channel. I also just got from the library, Amusing Ourselves to Death, which, well, it is a book from 1985 by Neil Postman, and it turns out it's quite an academic book, and it is about public discourse in the age of show business, because he was talking about how the change in how we convey information with the advent of television compared to the written word changes how we talk about things and how the public understands things and how we understand truth and all of those things. And it's a 1985 book, and he's not even talking about the internet, and it is so very relevant to today because this is someone who didn't even anticipate what we're living in now. And the foreword, I'm going to read you the foreword because I thought it's a little bit long, but it's worth reading. So listen to this. We were keeping our eye on 1984. When the year came and the prophecy didn't, thoughtful Americans sang softly in praise of themselves. The roots of liberal democracy had held. Wherever else the terror had happened, we, at least, had not been visited by Orwellian nightmares. But we had forgotten that alongside Orwell's dark vision, there was another, slightly older, slightly less well-known, equally chilling. Aldous Huxley's Brave New World. Contrary to common belief, even among the educated, Huxley and Orwell did not prophesy the same thing. Orwell warned that we will be overcome by an externally imposed oppression. But in Huxley's vision, no big brother is required to deprive people of their autonomy, maturity and history. As he saw it, people will come to love their oppression, to adore the technologies that undo their capacities to think. What Orwell feared were those who would ban books. What Huxley feared was that there would be no reason to ban a book, for there would be no one who wanted to read one. Orwell feared those who would deprive us of information. Huxley feared those who would give us so much that we would be reduced to passivity and egoism. Orwell feared that the truth would be concealed from us. Huxley feared that the truth would be drowned in a sea of irrelevance. This book is 40 years old. This is so good. And he's talking about books that at that time were 40 years old. So he's talking about 80-year-old. I mean, A Brave New World was written in the 1930s, so it predates 1984. And if you've never read it, it is a great book. But I'd never really thought about it in this way, and it's so much more relevant to today. I mean, I think both of these visions of the future are terribly prescient and relevant to today. But the way that Postman talks about this, it just caught me. I thought, oh my gosh. Orwell feared we would become a captive culture. Huxley feared we would become a trivial culture, preoccupied with some equivalent of the feelies, the orgy-porgy and the centrifugal bumble puppy, which are these technologies in Brave New World that keep people passive. As Huxley remarked in Brave New World Revisited, the fake libertarians and rationalists who are ever on the alert to oppose tyranny fail to take into account man's almost infinite appetite for distractions. And what was I talking about recently? I talked about reading Stolen Focus by Johann Hari, and he talks about how our focus is being stolen and eroded, and we're just being fed this constant diet of more and more inane and irrelevant things, making us really passive, making us passive consumers in lots of ways. In 1984, Huxley added, people are controlled by inflicting pain. In Brave New World, they are controlled by inflicting pleasure. In short, Orwell feared that what we hate will ruin us. Huxley feared that what we love will ruin us. This book is about the possibility that Huxley, not Orwell, was right. So yeah, I'm really interested to read this book and think more about it, because I've only just listened to the opening of it. It is very academic. There's a lot of talk about truth, discourse, epistemology, those kinds of things that I studied when I was at university as well. So I'm kind of thinking maybe I need to read it rather than listen to it. So if I get into it and I think, oh, I need to actually read these words on a page and digest them, I might do that. So yeah, I'm currently reading those things. So forthcoming plans, what's coming up? I've got a plan to try and pick a play to read for Shaketember. The Shaketember announcements that are out. Shaketember is the Shakespeare celebration that is hosted by Kelly at Books I'm Not Reading, Nicola at A Day of Small Things, and Kelly's husband, whose name escapes me right now, but they all host Shaketember every year, and they encourage us to read Shakespeare or learn a bit or watch some Shakespeare. I've never really been interested in reading a Shakespeare play. I read plenty of them when I was at school. I love to watch Shakespeare. I love things based on Shakespeare. In Shaketember, I've done things like I've read Hamnet, and I watched a Shakespeare play recently, and I just thought maybe I'm missing out. Maybe as an adult, I should go back and revisit a Shakespeare play. So I'm thinking of reading Macbeth, because when I was at the Globe, I picked up a tote bag with "Something Wicked This Way Comes" on it, which is obviously a quote from Macbeth, but it's a quote that I love because, yeah, it's just a great quote. And also, I love the Ray Bradbury book, "Something Wicked This Way Comes." I also love Terry Pratchett's Weird Sisters, and that is heavily based on Macbeth. So really, maybe I should just do a book pairing, the actual Macbeth with Terry Pratchett's Weird Sisters. I might do that. So yeah, I'm determined to try and read a Shakespeare play this Shaketember. So that is one thing that I'm planning to do. The other thing I've got coming up in the next few weeks is I'm going to visit Bath, and I'm going to the Jane Austen Centre. So watch this space for some pictures of that. I'm going to leave you with some pictures from a walk on Dartmoor that I took yesterday. And yeah, hopefully if you like this rambling nonsense, if you've never been here before, I'd consider subscribing. Let me know in the comments what you've been reading lately. Leave me a cup of tea emoji or a teapot emoji to let me know you've been here if you don't know what to say. And hopefully I will see you again here soon. Bye.